Good morning, good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartUpTrading.com. It is uh, Friday, December 12th, about 8 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So looking back at yesterday's session real quick, right, we had that huge liquidation break in the overnight session. Took us down to some key levels on the SPY. And then as we were coming into opening bell, we had already had some pretty sketchy distributions, and we're in the upper third of that distribution as the bell opened. Uh, and then what I want you to see is how the session distribution went. The Nasdaq, basically come down and was close to tagging those overnight lows again and then come back up and was unable before the bell rang at 4 o'clock to take out the highs of the session. Well, the ES, right, did not come down into that last node and just continued to, you know, slowly build time and volume and then would, move up another level. But if you look at the distribution, very bell curve shaped for the NASDAQ and a large range and very, split in the ES. Skip that. So what we had was basically, and I mentioned it shortly after it traded that Wednesday night, that until proven otherwise, the trading range that we're currently in is 680 on the SPY to 690, right? And we come back down and we hit 680.2, uh, and then kind of drifted back up towards 685, which is in the middle of the range around the opening bell. Come back down, check down to 682, and the rest of the day just lifted back up towards 690, and then after the bell, um, before the session closed, even got up to 690.75. So, 100-point ES range, a 10-point SPY range, but basically we traded the trading range from, uh, near the top to the bottom and back up over the top before the session closed. Uh, and for the cash market, 6850 to 6900, still, that same thing. And again, we pushed up. The cash market closes right at 4 o'clock, so you don't show the trades between 4 and 5. So we pushed up past that after that. For the Qs, right, uh, come back down to 617 in the overnight session. Uh, Come close to tagging that again uh, during the bell, and then come back up and got that bid. And I even made mention of it in those notes Wednesday night that bulls need to get back above 620 on the Qs while holding above the 680 on the SPY, right? And that's exactly what they did. They come back down here. They probed a few times, barely under 620 after getting above it, and then just you know was a lift uh, after that. So as we look at where we are and get into, let's just look at the other chart. So untested points of control wise, uh, 639 quarter above uh, yesterday's point of control, 68.69. But if you can see on here for the session, let's go ahead and turn off the extended session for now because what really matters is between the bells. So yesterday, right, we kind of took out the balance low, right, during the bells, and then come back in. So that was kind of a look below and fail potentially. And the ES did not even get below that low, right, as we mentioned we were going over yesterday's action, and it got above yesterday's high. So the ES is already on a look above uh, and go or fail. And if we turn back on the extended session uh, to look at it, you can see that it's still status quo, right? We're still up here It's still trying to hold up above 68.90 on the futures, uh, where the Nasdaq doesn't have the same appearance of strength. So you got poor high sitting in. So the bogey is, and I don't know if we can do it today, but just because today is the last day of this contract that will be fully traded, right? We'll be switching to H26 on Monday, whether you do it at the start of the day or by the end of the day, but by the end of Monday, and I won't be trading, these December contracts at all after today. Uh, so keep that in mind. So we also had after the bell because of the Broadcom earnings, right? We had basically these blue boxes at the top. We had those salmon run trades go off in each of the indexes, right? So what I'm going to be looking for is to see if we get some fills in there. The market maker, not the, I should say, the market participants weren't looking for a lot in today's session. We'll have to see if that holds or not. So the overnight low is right at the 1 day expected low end of the range for the NQ. Right at this 25, the overnight low was 25, 532 half. The 1 day expected move low is, you know, 531. So just, missed it by 6 ticks, close enough for government work. But basically, it's holding in the range that was expected by those participants at the end of yesterday. And we'll see the top end of the range is just under 900 at 25,896. And for the ES has done even less, right? That 1 day expected move low is at 872, 68.72 half, and then the top is at 69.42. So what I'd like to see is if we get any action, especially on the ES, since it has relative strength compared to the Nasdaq, uh, if we get up above this 1 day expected move, there's potential that we could run today, but until we see the action holding above 69.28 to 69.42, we should assume that it's going to stay inside and just be a little frustrating, do nothing. So there's very high potential that if we do anything, it might not be till this afternoon, right? This morning could be boring after all the fireworks yesterday. And looking at the positioning, you can see we closed basically at 6,900 yesterday. Futures are pretty much unchanged for the ES. They're up a point right now. Uh, so you're looking at, this is where we'd be if we open now. Uh, so 69.50 would be your next marker above, and you can see that for that is next week. And if you look at next week, right, we still got that 7,000 that everyone's going to want. That's that JPM collar. There's a lot of positioning up there. Uh, but I would watch just for today on the weekly, 69.20 to 69.30 is a first. You could push up to 69.40. I don't know if you can, get all the way up to 69.50 in one single bolt up. I would assume some chopping around between 69.20 and 69.30, if not to 40 at some point, if we can hold up above 6,900. Otherwise, I think you're just going back those few points to 68.70 to 68.80, 82 maybe would be on that lower side. So if we look at the SPY, and this is what's been really driving the train this week, or driving the bus, whatever you want to say. But for the weekly, you can see today, um, the bottom end is still pretty much defined by 680, right? We're currently trading 689, so I don't think that that's in play for today, to be honest with you. And you can see 690s, here, but you can see above here now, we have the door is open up to 693, and then that's really where the bears drop out is at 693, and then 695. So later on this afternoon, near the closing bell, if we're above 693, that's when you could get into a positive feedback loop and potentially, run towards the 700. I don't think we can get there today, but take it off at, 95, uh, 98, and then I just I think 98's where you should call it a day if we get up there today, and high chance that we don't even get over 693. Looking at the Qs for today, we're currently trading right at 623.40 basically after closing yesterday at 625.58. So we're still right in this little mess of fair value, right? Which for today is basically 622 up to 630. And that's a pretty good range for it. It's bigger than what they have for the 1 day expected move. So what I'd be looking to see if we can if the NQ and the Qs capture and start trading above 625. I look for 625 to 628 as a first test, and then you'd have to come back and get a check back of either uh, 627. Uh, I'd say you have to get into this print some 626s to see if they hold before you could get that test of 630. And then I think that's the same thing you would have to have in the last, you know, 90 minutes of the day or so. The VIX would have to be dropping. You could get into a positive feedback loop above 630, and there's really no target that I would say that's achievable on the today's expiration above, not like it is on the SPY. So 630, if you look at next week, you got a lot of gamma at 630, a lot of gamma at 635. So uh, I don't think 635 is in play today, to be honest with you. So we'll see what Jack's looking up next. But keep in mind that this all these salmon run trades are a sign of like a blow off top. So until we start trading above uh, basically and inside of that, uh, there's a lot of people that were over aggressive yesterday. I think a lot of what happened last night was just shorts getting stopped out right after that big flush we had at the end of the day or on the overnight on Wednesday coming into Thursday, that same Thursday session. You know, they were just hoping for some reprieve and they just had to sell they had to buy back futures to close out their positions before the session ended. And I think that's more of what went on than even Broadcom last night. So you can see that once futures opened, it seems to support that scenario that that was just a short squeeze into the close of the future session at 5. And then we haven't really done anything since. Remember, the market participants aren't expecting anything today. So, until we get outside of what's expected today, uh, don't get too excited. Again, we'll see what Jack's looking at next. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you on Monday.